the 2020 W4 overview. So this is the 2020 W4 that you're looking at right now, Employees Withholding Certificate, and we want to give you an overview so you can get a closer glimpse of what it is and how it can work for you. Hello, you got Mr.
and Mrs. Smith.
And before we give the overview and just kind of really just brush over the things that are entailed in this new W4 form, because there has been some changes, let's just talk about the purpose of the form.
There's been a lot of changes, you guys. So the purpose of this form, let's read it. Complete Form W4 so that your employer can withhold the correct federal income tax from your pay. If too little is withheld, you will generally owe tax when you file your tax return and may owe a penalty. If too much is withheld, you will generally be due a refund. Complete a new Form W4 when changes to your personal or financial situation would change the entries on the form. For more information on withholding and when you must furnish a new Form W4, see Publication 505, which is on IRS.gov.
Absolutely, and that Publication 505 is not just a breeze to just read through. It's pretty complex, but if your situation changed, did you get married? Did you have a child? Do you have a business? There's a ton of different things that change the situation that may cause you to revisit this W4 form. So understanding that helps you out a lot, because a lot of people should revisit that form, because many people don't. And what I also want to include is, at the time of this recording, it's December 2019, so the calculator hasn't quite updated yet, but the benefits of the calculator will let you know what you can expect after adjusting your W4, to let you know, will you owe? If so, about how much? You know, will you get a refund? So it breaks it down, but we want you to get a head start amongst anybody else and get an overview of what to expect from this 2020 W4 form. So, like I stated, it's the Employees Withholding Certificate. Complete Form W4 so that your employer can withhold the correct federal income tax from your pay. So this is based on the federal income, and what you put on this form will reflect on your pay. And you give this Form W4 to your employer upon completion. Your withholding is subject to review by the IRS, so make sure you take this form seriously. Don't just fabricate any numbers, because it's subject to review, and plus you just want to keep it all the way authentic anyway. So in step one, not much to explain other than you just fill in your information. What's your name? First and last, middle name, social, address, city, state. And then it gets into the things that start to offset your withholding, which is your filing status. Are you single or married, filing separately? They're kind of in the same category. Are you married, filing jointly, or a qualifying widower? Or are you head of household? Now, I want to read the head of household, because we always love to elaborate on what head of household is, because many people take this the wrong way. So it says, check only if you're unmarried and pay more than half the cost of keeping up a home for yourself and a qualifying individual. So what this means is you cannot be married and file head of household. Many people think that just because they're the breadwinner, they can file head of household. That's not the case. You have to be unmarried and paying more than 50% of a qualifying individual. That can be a child, that can be another qualifying individual that may not be your child, but they live with you a certain amount of time out of the year. So know the difference and know where you should check. We're not giving any examples here. We just want you to know how the form is set up and how you should best fill it out. Then it says complete steps 2 through 4 only, and they put only in all caps for a reason, if they apply to you. So whatever does not apply to you, then don't worry about filling out the form. Don't worry about, you know, any what if scenarios if it doesn't apply to you. Now, if you have a strong thought that it may, then definitely stay tuned to what we have yet to come in future videos, but skip anything that doesn't apply to you and go straight to step 5 if these 2 through 4 do not apply. See page 2 for more information on each step, who can claim exemption from withholding, when to use the online estimator, and privacy. So before I go into step 2, since they said see page 2 for more information on each step, I want to go through it just so you can see that everything gives you some form of a reference point. This is page 2. Now, we cover page 2, the section that says purpose of form, just to give you the purpose, but there are specific instructions lined out for just about every step. We're not going to insult your intelligence and read this for you, because we know you can, but we just want to let you know that page 2 are instructions that go with each step. So you saw the step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4A, step 4B, step 4C, and different notes that go along with it. So just understand how to find that, just in case you have a question. Most of that is pretty clear for the most part, but you know, hopefully we can assist you going forward. Now, step 2 is centered around an individual who has multiple jobs or a spouse that works, meaning that one particular household has more than one job. That can be through you and you work 2 jobs, or they can be you and your spouse. That's when you would fill in as step 2. Like we stated, if step 2 does not apply to you, don't worry about it. But in this form or in this section, it says complete this step if you, 1, hold more than one job at a time, or 2, are married filing jointly and your spouse also works. The correct amount of withholding depends on income earned from all of these jobs. So it's, you know, numbers that dictate how it'll affect you, but don't worry about that. We just want to let you know what it is. Do only one of the following. So don't do multiple, you just pick one. A, use the estimator, and that's when the estimator has been released for 2020 for most accurate withholding. And like we said, everything has a reference point. This refers you to steps 2 and 3. B, use the multiple jobs worksheet on page 3 and enter the result in step 4 below for roughly accurate withholding. Now, what they're talking about on page 3 is this multiple jobs worksheet, step 2B. So it lets you know what the scenario is if you have 2 jobs, how to go about it if you have 3 jobs. Believe it or not, some people do. So this is when you'll refer to this page, and each one of these sections will give you a quantifiable number, a monetary number that you'll be able to put here and transfer over. So just understand that if it applies to you, that's when you'll use that page, and then you'll come back and make sure it's reflected in each particular section. Now, if there are only 2 jobs total, you may check this box. Do the same for Form W4. For the other job, this option is accurate for jobs with similar pay. Otherwise, more tax than necessary may be withheld. And it may not make a lot of sense, but trust me, once you get to going through the form and referring to those other sections, some of the foggy areas will be cleared up. Tip: to be accurate, submit 2020 Form W4 for all other jobs. If you or your spouse have self-employment income, including as an independent contractor, use the estimator. So basically what that roughly means is whatever jobs you have, you want to submit a W4 for. If you have multiple jobs, you submit the W4 to both of those jobs. If you and your spouse have a job each, then you both submit a W4 form. You're not filling it out one time for all jobs or one time for both spouses. And if you have some type of side income, including if you're an independent contractor, then you will refer down to the estimator, which is also down below. Complete steps 3 and 4 on Form W4 for only one of these jobs. Leave those steps blank. For the other jobs, your withholding will be most accurate if you complete steps 3 and 4. B, on Form W4 for the highest paying job. And that'll make sense once you refer to those areas. We just want to kind of just give you a run around of what's here, because some things have changed, but there are reference points as there was before that helps clean up each section.
Yeah, and you guys, if you notice, they're referring the estimator quite a bit.
Yes.
So again, please note that as soon as the 2020 estimator is released, we will be doing yet another video going through how the estimator, how the calculator works, okay? So let's get into step number 3, which is claim dependence. It says if your income will be $200,000 or less, $400,000 or less if you're married filing jointly, then you follow these next 2 steps. The first one says multiply the number of qualifying children under age 17 by $2,000. And you're going to put that number on that line. So you're going to multiply, if that's 2, 3, 4 kids under the age of 17 that qualify, you're going to multiply that by the $2,000 and put the number there. The next one says multiply the number of other dependents by $500. Now, what is other dependents? And why is it two different amounts? Why am I getting $2,000 for one and $500 for the other? We're going to go back to the reference page, which is page number 2. And if you look over here, I'm going to highlight this where it says step 3. It says step 3 of Form W4 provides instructions for determining the amount of child tax credit and the credit for other dependents that you may be able to claim when you file your tax return. To qualify for the child tax credit, the child must be under age 17 as of December 31st, must be your dependent who generally lives with you for more than half of the year, and must have the required Social Security number. You may be able to claim a credit for other dependents, there's that word again, for whom a child tax credit cannot be claimed, such as an older child or a qualifying relative. For additional eligibility requirements for these credits, see Publication 972, Child Tax Credit and Credit for Other Dependents. You can also include other tax credits in this step, such as education tax credit and the foreign tax credit. To do so, add an estimate of the amount for the year to your credits for dependents and enter the total amount in step 3. Including these credits will increase your paycheck and reduce the amount of any refund you may receive when you file your tax return. So they were really, really thorough in there. If you don't know about the child tax credit and how all of that works, and you have an older adult that you're taking care of, you don't know if you can claim them, we're not going to go deep into that here, but it refers you to Publication 972 on IRS.gov. Revisit that publication and see if you can claim them, and that's going to determine the number that you put up here. Okay, so going back to step number 3, you're going to put in the children who qualify. You're going to multiply that by 2,000. If you have an older child that you're taking care of, or you qualify for the education tax like they stated, you have an older, adult that you're taking care of, you get the $500 credit for that. You're going to multiply that by the number of other dependents. Then what it tells you to do is add the amounts above and enter the total here. Okay? On step number 3. Step number 3 and number 3, that's where you're going to put that total. Now let's go into step number 4.
Absolutely. And if you make over 200,000, you won't even fill that section out. If you make more than 400,000, married,
yep,
filing jointly, keyword, you won't even fill that section out as she stated, but we just want to let you know what exists. Step number 4, which is optional. Now, I'm going to let you know something about the IRS. A lot of times if they say optional, some people opt out and don't do it at all. But a lot of times it's some hidden jewels in that space that if you understand it, it can allow you to keep more of your money. So get an understanding of this, because even though it's optional, there are some other adjustments that may allow you to strategically keep more of your money if you understand it. So let's talk about Part A. Other income not from jobs. If you want tax withheld from other income you expect this year that won't have withholdings, enter the amount of other income here. This may include interest, dividends, or retirement income. May include those things. So if you're an investor and you may earn some income in the form of interest, there's some other income that's not going to be listed in the form of a job, and some people want to estimate how much taxes they may have to pay on their interest earned. So you can put that number here, and it protects you at the end of the year. Same with dividends, same with retirement income, and same applies if you have some outside income in the form of a business. Sometimes it may not be taxed. It may be, you may get total pay with no taxes being taken out. So you're getting net pay. It's like you having a self-contract or you being 1099. It doesn't have any taxes taken out, but you might want to estimate a certain amount. That's not what we necessarily recommend, but in this section, you have that option. Letter B, deductions. If you expect to claim deductions other than the standard deduction and want to reduce your withholding, use the deductions worksheet on page 3. It refers you back to page 3, and enter the result here. So, if you expect to claim deductions other than the standard deduction is what everybody qualifies for. Just because you're in America and you're a legal citizen, everybody qualifies for the standard deduction. But if you plan to do more than just the standard deductions, then you will go to page 3. So let's go to page 3 so we can talk about what other deductions exist. So you will go to page 3, and it's the bottom half of page 3. Step 4B, deductions worksheet. This is where you will go here, and it basically says on line 1, enter an estimate of your 2020 itemized deductions. So these are the deductions that they're talking about. Most people know about standard deductions and itemized deductions. From Schedule A, Form 1040 or 1040 SR, such deductions may include qualifying home mortgage interest, charitable contributions, state and local taxes up to $10,000, and medical expenses in excess of 10% of your income. So what that means is this number has to be pretty established, not just no rinky-dink numbers. You want to have some pretty established numbers in order for this itemized deduction to even benefit you. So hopefully you know what those numbers are, and when you put those numbers together, you'll put it in section 1. Section 2, enter either of these numbers based on your filing status. So you'll put this $24,000 plus if you're married filing jointly or qualifying widower. You'll put $18,000 plus if you're head of household. You'll put $12,400 if you're single or married filing separately. You just pick one, not all. You just pick one, and you put it in section 2, line 3. If line 1 is greater than line 2, subtract line 2 from line 1. So if this number is larger, you subtract it. If line 2 is greater than line 1, enter 0. So it won't be a negative number. You'll just put a 0 there. Number 4, enter an estimate of your student loan interest, deductible IRA contribution, and certain other adjustments from Schedule 1, Form 1040. See Publication 505 for more information. These are just a small amount that they've listed. When you go to Publication 505, it's like a book because it's a ton of other things that may fall into this category, which is what I meant by when they say optional. Sometimes it's some options for you to keep more of your cash flow depending on your scenario. So that's where it will go on the line 4 in step 4B. Line 5, add lines 3 and 4 into the result here in 4B of Form W4. So you'll add lines 3 and 4. You'll get a number here. That'll be the line 5. And what does it say? Enter the result here in step 4B on Form W4, which is back to page 1. So that number will be transferred to 4B on this page W4. Then C, extra withholding. Enter any additional tax you want withheld each pay period. A lot of people, or I say some people, like to do this because most people's biggest fear, and it shouldn't be your largest fear, so I want to clear this up now. Most people's biggest fear is to have to owe in at the end of the year, or have to pay the IRS, or have to pay some form of taxes back. That shouldn't be your biggest fear, because if you break even and don't get a refund, then that's a good thing. But if you also have to pay in, then that's a good thing as well, because what that means is you kept the bulk of your money throughout the year, and hopefully that number isn't too high to where you can just pay them $100, $200, whatever that amount is to pacify the situation, but you maximize the amount that you were able to keep. But what some people do on this line is they say, I want to avoid owing at all costs, so I want to pay in an extra $50 a paycheck, $100 a paycheck. And if that's something you choose to do, because it's totally up to you, you have to reap the rewards and the benefits of this form, then you'll put that number in 4C, whatever it is that you choose. And then the easy section.
I get the easy stuff. Step number 5. Sign here. It says, under penalties of perjury, I declare that this certificate, to the best of my knowledge and belief, is true, correct, and complete. Listen, y'all, we're teaching you how to do this the right way. The government really isn't all bad. And you should be truthful. You should be honest. Don't claim nobody else's kids. Don't do anything that is not legal, accurate, and just true, okay? So make sure that you're filling this out according to your situation, okay? Sign it, date it, and leave the bottom part for your employer. They're going to put in their name, address, your first date of employment, and the EIN associated with that business, okay?
Yes, and just because this is an overview, and I know it's one section that we didn't go over in this overview, I just want to show it to you just so you can see it, is this last section. And this will be a lot simpler when you use the actual estimator once it's released officially for the year 2020. It'll make this math easy for you, but just so you know it exists, depending on your scenario and based on this section that it applies to, because it tells you refer to page 4 if you want to do some type of estimate. Then this section does allow you to, based on your scenario, figure out what number applies to that particular section. So I just want you to see it. I won't dive too deep into this, but it's based on filing status and based on the applicable section. Married filing jointly, single or married filing separately, head of household, and there are numbers that represent it when you get to that step. So that's the overview of the 2020 W4. This is simple in some ways than before, but I can understand if it appears to be complex. And don't shy away from the actual estimator, the IRS calculator, because I love it due to the fact that it spits out a summary and lets you know what you can expect after you correct or adjust your W4 to whatever fits you. We just wanted to give you an overview so you can know, oh, this is what it is all about. This is how it looks. This is what I can expect, because we want to put you ahead of everyone else. We want to let you know what is yet to come and what is here for now.
Yes, you guys, we plan on doing more videos, especially once the updated estimator has been released on the IRS website. Feel free to comment on this video letting us know what examples you like to see. If you're single, if you're married with 2 kids, if you're, married filing separately, let us know your situations, the examples that you like to see, and we'll see what we can do about, making a video catered around that particular situation, all right?
And what that means is you have to like this page, subscribe to this channel,
yes,
hit the bell so you get the notification,
yes,
because when we go over your exact scenario that you put in the comments, you need to be notified.
Yes.
So make sure you hit that thumb, make sure you hit subscribe, the bell, whatever thing that lets you know that you're subscribed and tuned in to what it is that we have to offer. Do it. So when we release that video, you're in the know immediately.
And share it with a friend, you guys. Each one teach one. If we teach you something that you didn't learn, the least you can do is share the information with somebody else who can also get this free knowledge, get this free game, and we can all win. All right? That's all we got.
Mr. and Mrs. Smith,
signing out.